things couldn't get any worse, the pressure got worse. I go from the Oscars and then an hour later, air mattress. Oscars air mattress. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. I got my car repoed because I'm like, now what am I gonna do? So I decided to start driving for this company called Hopskip, and that was not enough money. Not only that, I put so much started to put wear and tear on my car. My car has so many miles on it, more than it would have if I didn't do those jobs because I'm driving. And so it wasn't enough, and I was late on rent, owing rent, back rent, rent, and I couldn't do nothing about it until I was facing eviction. Y'all, when I laugh, it's not because I find certain things funny, it's because I'm uncomfortable and I'm laughing through my pain. Yeah, so my management company was like, yeah, you owe us a lot of money. You're like a few months behind and you're gonna get evicted. I was just living a great life. I was just having fun. I was just traveling the world. What eviction? Not that I was above eviction, but I was. My siblings call me the responsible one because I'm always like on my stuff. I always take care of my business. Like I don't like to do dumb stuff that's gonna get me bad or poor results. Like I just so how I go from being the responsible one to the one who has her affairs are not in order. Like zero. Not at all. Not only are they not in order, she ain't got no affairs. What huh? Money, where, savings, who? So yeah, I ended up facing eviction. But thank Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Where I lived, my management company, the property management company, they were so nice in helping me. They were working with me. I was able to give them chunks of money when I could here and there, and they were working with me. But the bill kept stacking up because every month that rent was due, to the point where they're like, yeah, you're gonna face eviction, or we can create an option for you. And I don't know if they do this for everyone, but they did for me. They gave me the option to vacate the premises within 30 days, or I could stay and try to fight the eviction. Honey child, I'm out of there. I'm out of there. You mean to tell me that I can leave? I still owe them money, but I can leave without facing eviction, and I don't have an eviction on my credit to this day? Chucking up the deuces. When I tell you, I started packing that house up. I'm outside of the U-Haul. First day moving out. Just turned in the U-Haul. It's real. I found the storage and I put all my stuff in the storage unit. And I called my brother. I said, so this is what's up. Can I come live on your couch for a couple months? And he's like, what? So I'm up there fighting through all of this on my own. So I told him, he's like, oh no, you're not getting evicted. Like, we're not gonna, just, that's fine. You can come here. Thank God I never got evicted. But I was homeless. And it wasn't that I didn't have absolutely anywhere to go, but if I didn't go to my brother's, I would have been couch surfing. And I didn't want anybody else to know. So I never even asked my mom and sister. They didn't know. And so I lived with my brother. The goal was to stay there for 6 months. 6 months turned into a year and 4 months that I lived with my brother. And out of that year and 4 months, I still was not telling nobody. It wasn't until maybe me being there for about 6 or 8 months did my family start to find out. And they only knew because eventually my brother was like they would try to come over, and my brother would try to make excuses of why they couldn't come over or why my stuff was there, or trying to like hide certain things. And I just got tired of him doing that, and I didn't want him to do that in his own home. And not only that, like holding something into me, that I was like, you know what, I need to grow in this area. Why am I embarrassed about this? I'm not the only person who's ever experienced this. People have experienced other things, and technically I'm not living in my car or on the streets, because that's real homelessness. I just don't have my own roof, a roof over my head with my name in it, but I have a roof over my head that's safe, that's comfortable, that's clean. And he was not charging me anything to stay there either, because he wanted me to be able to build my money back up so that I can get back on my feet. So I'm so thankful for that. I'm so grateful for that. So really, it was a blessing. God, even though I went through that, God really did provide everything that I needed. It was struggle though, because I had to trust that God was going to do that, and I couldn't trust that first. It took me a long time. I'm talking maybe not until earlier this year did I really learn to trust God. So when I moved into my brother's place, it was in February 2024. That's when it was. One of the jobs that I get to do, it's not a year-round job, but once a year during award season, I get to work the Oscars. And so I didn't work last year because I didn't want to work last year, but when I worked in 2024, I had such a good time.
I'ma tell you this one time, boy, I want you to be mine. Can I come see you now? Can I lay with you outside? Can I touch your lips with mine? 'Cause I need to.
I loved it. And I left the Oscars and went to my brother's house to sleep on an air mattress, a twin bed air mattress in the middle of his living room floor. Oh, by the way, let me show you where I'm living now. Yep, my new home. But God is faithful, and I know He's going to come through. He's going to blow my mind, and He's going to do exceedingly abundantly above all that I can even think or imagine. I'm just meant to surrender and be humble right now. God is faithful. I trust and I believe Him. I go from the Oscars, and then an hour later, air mattress. Oscars air mattress. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. My brother made a joke like, "Oh, you just left the Oscars in your ball gown. Now you're sleeping on the air mattress." And like, we laughed about it because it was like, this is crazy. I literally am doing that. Wow.
My hair tie is coming off, and I'm deflating my bed.
Even though it's not a funny thing, it's just like, wow. Slowly but surely, I started to involve other people who could help, because another thing that God needed me to work on was being comfortable sharing my business, but not to full extent and not to everybody. But then also being comfortable asking for help, because there's people, they're at a place where they want to help me. And I was so used to being the person that helps everybody. So me asking for help was not easy because it's like, okay, not only is it like me not wanting to be vulnerable, but it's really I like to be the one to help people. But how can I help people when I am the one who need help myself? And I know I'm not the only person who has ever needed help, but at the time it felt like I was the only one because I was isolating myself. I was not allowing other people into my life so that they can be of help to me. Like even me finding out that the church could help me, I would have known that if I hadn't opened my mouth to one of my friends, my church friends actually, and she was the one that told me that they could do that. And she only knew because it was a struggle for me to get to rehearsals because I was on the dance team and I was like, I don't have gas money. I didn't even have gas money to make it there, to the point where they were paying my gas for me. Like, I was so embarrassed and I was so sad and I was so upset and I was just so mad at God. Like, what is this? This is not what I asked for. I didn't want none of this. Like, I just want to be in your will, but I didn't want none of this. And I had to learn that to be in his will means I have to surrender what's not of his will. And me isolating myself, me not being vulnerable, allowing others to help me and being vulnerable, me not being so self-sufficient and so independent, and so I am me focused. And I am the type of person when I need something, I'm going to get it. I'm going to hustle and I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make sure I get money. Not compromising myself. I want to make that very clear. I've never had to compromise myself doing anything that I didn't feel comfortable to do. And I'm not judging anybody who has ever done that. I felt like they needed to do that. But I just would make it happen. And most of my family is like that. So I'm like, I grew up in a hustle culture. So I'm used to all of that. And it was so me. Like, I was like, I got to make it happen. I got to do this. It's on me. I. And I would never consult God. Ever. It was like, if I was about to do something and I wanted God to just make sure that God had my back, I would be like, okay, God, I'm about to do that. And cool. Not God. This is what I am deciding to do. If it's not in your will, help redirect me. I didn't do none of that. It was just like I had such a hold on making money that God really needed me to rely on him as my provider and not myself. Because me doing it and being in that stressful hustle culture, I don't want to be like that for the rest of my life. I want to be soft and gentle. And I do eventually want to get married. And I want to be able to allow my husband to take care of things. I'm always going to have my own. Even when I do get married, that's never going to change. But I'm going to allow him to be the provider. Anyway, times were hard. Things were difficult. Life was challenging. When I thought things couldn't get any worse, the pressure got worse. Okay? When I tell you the pressure got worse, worse. I was so broke, y'all. I was so broke. Hold on. My thing on the charger is about to die. Hold on. Okay, so the angle is a little different because I had to put my iPad on the charger.
Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for watching my video. A friend recommended that I create an Amazon wish list, so I went ahead and did that and included the link in the description box. If you'd like to support, I really appreciate that, and I hope you enjoy the rest of my video.
My situation got worse. I went from planning to only be at my brother's place for 6 months. And at this point, we're at a year mark. And I had no job in sight. I was pretty much gig working. Not enough savings to really take care of all of my bills, to the point where I had gotten behind on my car note. And I was trying to catch up, but it wasn't enough, to the point where I got my car repoed. this gonna sound crazy saying, but I didn't think car repoing was a real thing. And I know that sounds crazy and dumb to say, but let me tell you, I didn't think it was a real thing because I never experienced it. And I don't know if I know anybody who's ever experienced it. Maybe they just never shared it, but I never experienced it. And so I can give y'all a story time on how it happened, because when I tell you, it was like something out of a movie, the way that it happened. I just remember I was gonna go to a Coco Jones concert, and that's another story for another day. But I got my car repoed, and it was by the grace of God and a family member who helped me, who I still owe to this day. I'm telling y'all, I owe a lot of people. You know that meme that's like, I got so many bills. Say the B word, but I ain't gonna say it. But I got so many bills. Like, I feel that, okay? So I ended up getting my car repoed, and I was like, this is it. Now I ain't got no car. I'm homeless and I ain't got no car. So even if I needed to live in my car, how? So my option was gonna be on the streets. It would have never been on the streets because I know too many people who would have helped me, but still, if I was living in the don't tell nobody my business, then I would have. The way that it happened was like something out of a movie. Anyway, so by the grace of God and with the help from a family member, I was able to get my car back. And I had to do so within a short amount of time, like within, I think it was 7 days or so. Let me tell you, even me asking for help with that, I cried. But eventually I asked for help and I was able to get help. See, that's what happens if you know the saying, closed mouths don't get fed. My mom used to say that all the time growing up, but it's really true. Like, if you don't ask for help, how does someone know to help you? And most of the time, people are able to help, whether they want to or not, that's another story. But people really are able to help. You just have to ask. And I just started to feel like, Lord, something has got to give. Something has to break. I am I just feel like this is too much. I went on a fast, and that really helped to change my mindset into more of an abundant mindset, because I had gotten so low to the point where I started to adjust my mind to that low frequency. Like, if you've ever been low before and you've ever been in a negative state of mind, you know that you really do have to train your brain to think positively, even though the circumstances around you are not positive. It may be experiencing lack, or they may not reflect the life that you're used to living. And I was not used to living like that, and I didn't want to get stuck in that, but my mindset felt like it was stuck. That's why they say the power of your tongue and the way that you train your brain is so important, because what you say will eventually manifest. I did have things that I did to help me with my mental state. So I was in the gym, and I used the gym as my therapy. I was in therapy as well, but I used the gym as my daily therapy, because that felt like I would be in the gym for 2 hours, sometimes 2 hours and a half. The reason I did that was because my life outside of the gym was not a reflection of the life that I wanted to live. I was homeless. So when I was in the gym, I completely forgot about all of that. I didn't think about what was going on outside of my gym time. I didn't think about me not having any money. I didn't think about me barely being able to hold on and pay my rent and pay my car note. And I didn't think about none of that. All I thought about was me being in the gym, focusing on my workout. Sometimes I would listen to sermons and really let that get into my spirit. So usually working out, you like to listen to music. I would listen to sermons working out. I know some people listen to gospel music and worship music. I do that too, still to this day, but I was listening to sermons too because I needed to feed my mind and I needed to make sure that I was in a mind frame no matter what my situation and my circumstances looked like outside of that gym. When I was in that gym, that was my self care. I was not able to go get my hair done as much as I used to. I was not able to get my nails done professionally as often as I used to. I would go every now and then, but I had to learn to do my own nails. So I started doing my own nails. I was not able to do my laser services like I was used to doing. I was not able to go to the spa and facials and vacation and do any of those things. But when I was in that gym, that was my self care. That's where I poured into myself. That's how I was able to keep myself up and not lose my appearance and the work that I put in after all those years of hard work. It was like 2 years, but all the hard work that I put in after losing all that weight and getting a trainer, I needed to maintain that. And so I did until I didn't. There was a point where I just completely stopped because everything was just so overwhelming.
I'm off. I haven't been motivated to do much of anything. And I didn't even realize I was off until I just feel like when it rains, it hails in my life. It's not just like a pour, no, it hails. It's one thing, then another, then another, then a little bit of a break, but then another. With nothing seeming to change in your view, my view. And I'm frustrated. But I'm also like, my momentum is kicking in. I gotta get back on it. I'm getting back on it. I gotta keep going. I gotta keep going.
But I'm back in the gym now. We ain't gonna focus on back then. Moving forward, and this is a long video, so to conclude it,